Well, blessed good morning and welcome to our devotions for Wednesday morning. As usual, it is always good to be here. I want to say thanks to those who would have shared some thoughts yesterday. I want to encourage you to share some thoughts again today. It is very important that we verbalize in some form or another what is passing through our thoughts and our mind as we go through these devotions. There's nothing like the spoken word, or when we see something in black and white, it kind of reinforces what it is that is going on within us, and we kind of bring it out there into the real world. And by doing that, we kind of cement it as a reality, and we're able to better reflect on it or actually put it into practice. As we gather this morning, I want to ask you to hold in divine light a sister Wendy who is going through some serious challenges in her life at this point in time. It's a matter of life and death, and we pray God would hold her in God's hands. We know that everything is in God's time, and we acknowledge that, and we offer support to loved ones and family as well during this time. This is life, and the journey is ours, and how we use it is always up to us. We must remember those who are in any way challenged, including ourselves, because we too have our challenges. We do face what we have planned for ourselves in this world. And so together we journey on. No challenge is really greater than another. They're all challenges. It is just the perspective that we hold. We continue to remind persons of the Path to Purpose retreat, which is coming up, and we invite you to go to the site and indicate your interest and willingness to participate in this retreat focused on the Enneagram, and our leader will be Leslie Hirschberger, a longtime trainer in the Enneagram. We know at this time in our journey the importance of exploring ways of understanding ourselves and understanding others in order that we may journey with greater awareness, greater understanding. I pray that we'll make the effort to participate in this. And so now we come to our time of devotion. And as we come to our time of devotion, we ask that we be able to use this time in a way that will assist us in our own growing and becoming all that God would have us be. So we find that place, in that space, and we feel the vibrations. We allow ourselves to resonate with the vibrations. Take it all in. Breathe in with a sense of gratitude into our heart space. Knowing that we are love. Knowing that sense of inner peace. Holding within our hearts an awareness of the fullness of this life, trusting every moment, trusting that life is unfolding perfectly. And at the same time being aware of how we respond to the unfolding of life. The plan is there. The stage is set. But in a sense, we make it up as we go along, because every response creates an alternate pathway. The blueprint is there. But at each stage, there is the requirement that we respond. How do we respond? Do we respond consciously or unconsciously? Do we respond from a place of gathered hurts? And are we conscious of this? Or do we respond with awareness, self-awareness? How do we respond? We're called to respond from a total place of awareness, so that we may know who we are. At that time, Herod the ruler heard reports about Jesus, and he said to his servants, "This is John the Baptist. He has been raised from the dead, and for this reason these powers are at work in him." For Herod had arrested John, bound him, and put him in prison on account of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, because John had been telling him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." Though Herod wanted to put him to death, he feared the crowd because they regarded him as a prophet. But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced before the company, and she pleased Herod so much that he promised on oath to grant her whatever she might ask. Prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me the head of John the Baptist here on a platter." The king was grieved, yet out of regard for his oaths and for the guests, he commanded it to be given. He sent and had John beheaded in the prison. His head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, who brought it to her mother. John's disciples came and took the body and buried him. Then they went and told Jesus. Well, here we are once again, and we continue on our theme, Do You Know Who I Am? And even more importantly, do I know who I am? Do you know who I am? Herod wondered about Jesus. Herod figured he was John the Baptist come back again. It's amazing how ever so often within the context of scriptures we hear some reference to what we have called in our time reincarnation. A thought or an idea that is held by various cultures across the world, various religious traditions. And it seems to some extent it was held in Judaism and also early Christianity, which itself emerged out of Judaism. Herod is perceiving in Jesus something of John the Baptist. You know, at times we say things that can be amusing and at the same time meaningful. And we don't always have the support for it. But there are times when persons, out of a sense of awareness, would look at a young baby and would say, this is an old soul. This is an old soul. And that statement is a very powerful statement because it says that in some way the child seems to have this energy of someone who has been here many times. It's not something that is official, but it is something that we hear in the wider population. And I'm sure you might have said it yourself as you looked into the eyes of a child and in some way sensed something that suggested that, no, this is not her first time, or this is not his first time. We have no way of officially knowing this, not in this life. Perhaps when we return from whence we have come, it will become apart again as to the truth of this particular sentiment that seems to arise out of our very sense of knowing, not somebody telling us something, but that sense of knowing. But even so, that offers us some very interesting points to consider. What if that were a reality? What if it was that persons actually had more than one sojourn in this place with the whole intention of becoming more adept at what it is to be a soul, to ascend with each possible incarnation? We speak of the second coming of Jesus. We speak of it in a way that is separate and distinct from this particular concept. The universe is billions of years, we are told. And we are also told that souls are eternal. There is so much that we do not know. And yet, at the same time, we are constantly being given moments of revelation, moments of higher understanding. And our purpose really in this world is to seek that understanding, to try to remember who we really are and what this is all about. There's a school of thought that in coming into this world we forget. We're told oftentimes that children have a better memory of it, as well as persons who are elderly, who are getting ready to cross over once more. There are stories of children who speak of the fact that they were here before and they're able to share information which, when tested out, is proven to be totally correct, and there was no way that that child could have known this information. There may be various explanations for this, but at this point in time, we don't really have any other than the likelihood that this soul had been here previously. We live in a wonderful universe. We live in a vast experience. It is amazing how we can exist in such closed spaces. And by closed spaces, I'm not here referring to physical spaces. I'm also referring to intellectual spaces. We close our minds and we convince ourselves that we are here to go to school, to get a job, to get a family, and then wait for the grandchildren. There's such a limitation in that thinking. What of the more? You may notice that in our current age, our young people are traveling extensively. Not only are they traveling extensively, but they're looking for work any part of the world. We've got young persons who've gone off in great numbers to the various parts of the world. And not just the standard places like up north in North America or UK, but in some remote locations, places that you would not even imagine. Our young people are finding opportunities. What is this saying? I think at some level they have come to a realization that what previous generations have accepted as the norm of life is unacceptable to them. Something within them is saying that there is more, there is a vastness, there's a grandness to this life. And so the whole idea of going into a culture that perhaps doesn't even speak one's language, a culture that is vastly different, causes them to be able to engage different aspects of their mind in a way that opens their minds up and don't have them as closed. When we look at this local culture of ours and we see how persons, in a sense, at times just wither away through the years, Alzheimer's, dementia, one wonders, is it because we have held such a small understanding of what life is, that we have bought in to the idea that all this is about is doing the right thing, being in the right place at this right time, and then what? And then the brain comes to a place where it has nothing to do and it begins to deteriorate. I don't know. But there seems not to be an expansion. There seems to be a diminishing as time goes by. Who am I? Am I this physical being that is just here for a few days and you accomplish a few things and then you just wait for death? Or am I this divine soul that is forever expanding at every stage? As long as there's breath in this body and I'm still present in this world, I am expanding and becoming and becoming and becoming. There is an inner drive, because this is not about a physical journey or a physical experience. This is about a spiritual journey. And the physical just happens to be the vehicle through which this journey is being engaged. To be here, I have to put on these clothes, these fleshly clothes. If I were to go to the bottom of the ocean, I would have to put on a particular set of clothes to deal with the pressure under the ocean. We need to be able to realize that there is more to ourselves. And throughout history, we have heard these glimpses, like here today with Herod and his comment about Jesus. We are seeing it in our children. We are seeing it and exploring it in the various noetic sciences, looking at the sense of the mind and the way persons are able to accomplish various things like channeling or their mediums, all manner of ways that persons are beginning to use this gift of life and to stretch it beyond what we have come to know. I smile at times when the West once again comes up with various ways in which we can engage this universe from a spiritual place. And I'm amazed at the ways in which they speak about it like if this is the first time that this is occurring. But the reality is, in many native cultures, in many indigenous cultures, various methodologies of engaging the spirit were practiced for eons. Many great discoveries that the world has benefited from were practiced by individuals who went into various trance or who engaged in spiritual practices. These were demonized through the years and shut down. And because of that, so much was missing from our world. So much. was there that we didn't know about, that we weren't utilizing. And I think about it sometimes and I ask myself, what if the missionaries hadn't done the kind of job that they did, where they demonized and eradicated some of the other thought forms and ideas? What if they had allowed them to coexist and to develop through the years? What insights would we have now? In the same way that through the Industrial Revolution, through the outward thinking, that we have accomplished so much, in many ways to the detriment of our own selves at times. What if those who practice the various spiritual ideas and concepts, what if they had been allowed to continue and not be sidelined or totally removed? What would our world look like if we had the benefit of all those practices for the last, 400-500 years? Where would we be? Would we be in a state of global warming, climate crisis? Or would those cultures which would have been so conscious of the environment, would they have offered a counterbalance to this sense of the industrial drive? Would they have helped us to hold the tension so that while, yes, we developed various mechanisms, that at the same time we had this consciousness of not doing any harm to the environment? I'm one who firmly believes that everything has a place in this world, or it would not be here. And to eradicate anything or anyone is to our detriment. Everything has a purpose. There is nothing in this world that is without purpose. Hence the importance of knowing self. Of knowing self in a way that helps one to know something about this world, about what's going on, about why things are the way they are. This is of great importance, and yet we constantly seem to miss the point. We need to know ourselves, because in knowing ourselves, we are able to recognize that we are not here on a dead-end street, but we are here on an ever-evolving and expanding journey. Yes, Herod mistook Jesus for John the Baptist. Others on another occasion were saying that he might be Elijah or one of the prophets. They felt that there was more to what they were seeing. We need to realize that there is more than what we are seeing. And we need to recognize the importance of being able to see beyond what's obvious in our world. And that's when we come to true self-knowledge and true knowledge of the other. When we can look beyond what is visible and we can recognize that there is so much more. This is our task, and we must explore this journey with every fiber of our being for as long as we are here.